Now, this is Willie's dream, man. Here it comes, man. I ain't gonna stop this. It's going all the freaking way, yeah, man. It's going all the way down, yeah. Dig this one, yeah, yo. Yeah. Rock it. Roll it. Rock it, roll it. Dig it. Dig it. Oh, yeah. Can you dig it? Can you bonk it? Can you zap it? I didn't expect it. Another song. That was wicked, man. Hey, Willie, what do you think of that one? Yo! Yeah. Here we go, alright. Rock and roll, Willie.
The swam in the ocean.
Wanted to know what my favorite song was. Oh yeah. I'll find it for you.
Bombero seré, vero seré, pero vero seré, bombero seré, vero
Okay, Willie, this song's for you. This is my favorite song, I think. there's something I have to check. Yeah. That's he lives in the deepest, darkest jungle. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Chick at the black heart man, children. I said don't go near him. Chick at the black heart man, children. Or even lions fear him. Chick at the black heart man, little children. I said don't go near him. Chick at the black heart man, children. Or even lions fear him. Growing in a neighborhood for such a long time that it's filled with fear. I can't go here, can't go there, and I ain't supposed to go anywhere at all. When I asked my mom if she could let me go out and play like little children do, she said be careful of the stranger, giving candies to children and then take them away. He lives in the gullies of the city. The black heart man, y'all. The black heart man. Even in the lonely parts of the country, black heart man, y'all. The black heart man. He ain't got no friend, no home, no family. He's the black heart man, y'all. That's the black heart man. He is famed to live just like a gypsy. He's the black heart man, yeah. Growing and learning and gathering for myself a little more experience, jumping over the fence. Curiosity has brought me, yes it's brought me a little common sense, yeah. Prodding the road of life, I've come to this one conclusion: that everything is equal under the sun. All that is created by the mighty hand, yeah. And he said knock and it shall be open, seek and ye shall find. Wisdom is found in the simplest place, in the nick of time. Knock and it shall be open, seek and ye shall find. Wisdom is found in the simplest of places, in the nick of time. Now I trod the same road of affliction, just like the black heart man, just like the black heart man. Getting my share of humiliation, just like the black heart man, y'all. The black heart man. You find me in the prisons or the dungeon, just like the black heart man, yeah. The black heart man. I even get paid without a reason, just like the black heart man, just like the black heart man, y'all. No cross, no crown, no sorrow, no laughter, trial and crosses in the highway. But the heart of the battle is the sweeter. Jaja victory. Ooh, ancient children used to say, if you want it, you know it's got to run, run, run. How could the world go free? Let ya bear the cross alone. Them that drink of the old wine have no place for the new, for the new. And the stones that are head of the corner are the same ones. Hear me when I say now, it's the black heart man, children, who become the wonder of the city. It's the black heart man.
Skies clear, the sun will rise, flowers appear. Tonight, beyond the skies, shines in her eyes. Just color of white is to the dreams that come true. She has bubbles and rings, magic wings, butterfly wings. Up into space she goes, magic bells on her toes. Just flower of white, is to your dreams will come true. She has bubbles and rings, and magic wings, butterfly wings. She dances around, removing all around. She takes us to the sea, wants to go sail with the majestic water is deep. Everything so. Flower of white. The sea to come true. She has bubbles and rings, magic wings, butterfly wings, and the magic power of the constant flower. She's the American love. That is the magic power of the constant flower. She will make it right. Well, there you go. Get this right, yeah, baby. Ooh, ooh. All right, yeah. Take it. Wow. Check it out, man, yeah. Now, what I'm gonna do next. Yeah, and here we go with a little bit of a Canadian old classic, yeah.
The gun has become for you, for me, for us. decals on my black jacket, ride easy riding to Toledo. Sun and tan. Yeah, don't you just dream? Boardwalk sand. Sand, sand, sand. Say it, Chief. Paddle boats, surf ladies and sharks, up and down the coast we coast. Yeah, right. Research at beach resorts. We're in Newport for research to get abreast of things. To get abreast of things. Take it to the shore. We just researched Wasaga Beach. Bonfire pits at midnight. Hangover runs at sunrise 6. What is it that we stare at? Is it the passports and campsite stars? Or the monogram bikinis and cars? Or maybe we just need some perspiration because we're frostbitten Canadian boys. Put on the sunglasses, get in on the parade. We're gonna cruise the beach. We just might
games you play. It's that face you make. It's the shit that I take. All those games you play.
The views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily those of the network or anyone affiliated. There will be mature and possibly immature content. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. As a matter of fact, I probably wouldn't listen at all. It's very poorly produced. Take me to your leader.
Welcome to the Monster Castle Radio Show. For the extreme paranormal listener. And here is your host, the Wolfman, Mike.
This is where the real freaks hang out, alright, yeah.
how's everybody doing tonight? Well, this is going to be a pre-recorded show. Sorry about that, folks, but I got called in for mandatory overtime at the factory. So there's your incentive to go to monstercastleparanormal.com and donate today. Get me out of that factory. I need to do this full time. So we won't be taking any calls today, sorry. And here's the news with Melvin Spacely.
Mass evacuation of Antarctica happening just now. All civilians and scientists being flown out. Special operations and military moving in. This astonishing report was published at Godlike Productions. A civilian working for the United States defense industry published in the Godlike Productions that witnessed strange material and military movements on the way to Antarctica, and also knew that they were withdrawing all civilians from Antarctica. This comes as the Russian Navy is on its way to Antarctica. Why are they sending an entire fleet of armed ships there? Very strange. He also learned that the military was preparing to move anything from Antarctica and that everything was surrounded by secrecy. They're moving everything, including civilians, out. I wonder if some sort of ultimatum was laid down to world leaders, hence the elite rushing down there, and that ultimatum was not met. So, at the same time, I decided to do a little research and find out that you can still book a trip. It's called Backtrack Travel from Australia, and you can find the website Backtrack Travel and actually book a trip to Antarctica in March 2017. So this is kind of contradictory, yet I don't believe you're allowed to actually go on the land. It's basically what is this, looking at penguins and seals. It doesn't mention actual landfall, just going around and looking at wildlife. This is Melvin Spacely for Monster Castle Paranormal News. Thank you.
This is Jeff the Grey, co-host of Monster Castle Paranormal Radio on the KTLK Digital Broadcasting Network, thefringe.fm.
Alright, and this is the Wolfman Mike here, alright. And it looks like, since we don't have a guest live on tonight, I'm not sure what to do. Another guest actually canceled on me for this show, so it's kind of strange, but I believe I'm booking too far ahead, maybe, and that's why people are forgetting about it. Or maybe I should do some more reminding. But we have an awesome guest for tomorrow. And I think Igor has an idea for me. Igor, you come up here. Come up here.
Yes. I have something for you. Yes. I found it in the dungeon, and it's some old tapes with spooks. Mr. Spooks. Remember Mr. Spooks?
Yes, Igor, far out. I dig it, man. What a great idea. Thanks, Igor. All right. So now we got something to play. All right. Thank you, Igor.
You're welcome, mister.
Now go away. You stink, man. You go back down into the dungeon, and thank you very much, but you do stink, so go back down.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna play with the bodies and things downstairs.
Wow. All right, so Igor gave us a great idea here. We're gonna go with, I believe, yeah, Spooks, man. He's groovy, man. But we need some, let some spooks out, I think. Oh, for sure. And we will start that interview right now. Good evening. We're here with my friend Spooks from the UK. Everybody give a good warm applause for Spooks, everybody. All right. How are you doing, sir? You like that intro?
I was a bit behind, I think.
I do that for everybody. Lately, anyway. How are you doing, sir?
Not so bad. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. You fire away with the questions, and whatever you'd like to know about me, I will tell you.
Well, okay. Let's start from where you come from, maybe a little bit about yourself, and how this high strangeness came upon you.
Oh, crikey, that's a long story. Well, I'm 65 years old. I live in the UK. I was born in the northeast of the UK in a place called County Durham, which is cold, it's wet, it's windy, it's near the coast, and when it snows big time, a little bit like Canada. I was the son of a policeman. Well, I still am the son of a policeman. He is now 93 years old, my dad. My mum is nearly 90. And we have just celebrated Christmas together. I've just come back home now, actually.
Wow,
yesterday.
That's lovely.
Excellent.
I'm glad that they're still around for you. That's amazing.
I know, they've just celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary, which is a platinum anniversary.
Yes, I do believe you are correct.
It actually went into the local newspapers, the local TV, local radio, everything. It made their day, actually.
Wow.
I left home when I was about 21 years old, 22 years old, and I was a carpenter. I had just come out of my apprenticeship as a carpenter and moved to the south of England, where I was a young 22-year-old, tall, slim, handsome, long hair, bit of a hippie. I never did any drugs or anything like that. I just was a bit of a womanizer, really. I became a carpenter down in the bottom of the UK, where I still am. I still live. And I discovered that I had a talent for DJing. And I took it from there, and I then became a radio DJ, which in between, there was an awful lot went on in between also. I was an ice cream man, I was a farm worker, I was an undertaker, I was a lorry driver, I was a taxi driver. I did an awful lot, but I found something that I love. And I think when you do a job and you love a job, you do it better. And DJing, I absolutely loved. I was a nightclub DJ. I worked on boats. I worked in nightclubs. I worked in hotels. I worked in people's garages, in the houses.
Oh, so you just traveled
I
around
eventually
and
worked on local radio. They gave me an interview, and they liked what I did, so I did a show on local radio for 11 years.
oh, that's awesome on a terrestrial radio station.
Yeah.
I would love that gig. I'm working on it myself right now.
It was great.
Yeah.
I also, I'll get onto the TV side of it in a little while. I actually carried on with the DJing for quite a long time. Previous to all of the jobs that I had, when I first came down to the south of England, things went a little bit wrong for me, and I ended up living on the streets. I lost everything. I lost my job. I lost everything I had. I only owned the clothes I stood up in, and I found myself living in the back of an old wrecked van in a field. I was stealing milk off doorsteps. I was stealing bits of food from wherever I could to survive.
I've been there. Been there and I've done that, but it sounds like you had it worse, because I found friends that were able to take me in, and I got back on my feet. But I've been there.
Well, I got on my feet. Yeah, I had a guy that lived up the road. After about 8 months, he came across to me and he said, "Spooks, I've seen enough." He said, "Right, we're going to get you back on your feet. You come and live with me." And he gave me some clothes. I had a good shower. His mum made me the first roast dinner I had in a year, and he said, "Right, we'll get the local newspaper out, and you're going to go for the first job that we come across." So after I got myself cleaned up, we opened up the local paper. And in those days, I'm going back a few years now, 40 years ago, there was plenty of jobs. You could just literally stick a pencil on any job in the newspaper, and you could go and get it. And that's precisely what I did. I put my pin into a newspaper, and he said, "Whatever job you go for, you take." I said, "Yeah, okay." And it was a job for an undertaker. and I took the job, and I got it, and I took it, and I went for it, and I did it for a little while, and it got me out of trouble. I managed to buy new clothes, I managed to get a bit of money behind me, and I helped to pay this guy back. And funnily enough, I spoke to him about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I called him and I said, "Look, Richard, I have never ever forgotten what you did for me. I owe you my life." And I think he was just about ready to burst into tears, actually, because it was totally unexpected. And I said, "I've never forgotten you. I even wrote about you in my first book." So things have moved on anyway since then, and I've done pretty well for myself. I'm now a professional driving instructor, and I'm a grade 5, which is pretty good, pretty high. So I've got myself out, I've pulled my finger out, and I've moved on a little bit and done something for myself. The psychic side of things, well, about 25, 26 years ago, I was having problems again with women. That was always been the bane of my life. And a lady stitched me up big time. I mean, she took me for everything. I had a beautiful guest house. I'm not going to blame her for everything, however, because a lot of it was my own fault, because I should have seen it happening, and I didn't. I was a fool. And I lost my guest house. I lost my other 2 houses I had. I lost every penny I had, and literally got thrown out on the street from this lady with £45 in my pocket, which is, I don't know, maybe $50, $60 in my pocket, and that was it. And I thought, oh my God, here I am again, back on the streets with nothing. But I picked myself up, dusted myself down, and I started all over again. And I wasn't going to go through what I went through before, and I went to stay with a friend, and they helped me out. They gave me a few quid, and I started all over again and managed to pick myself up and got myself a job as a driving instructor, and it was great. It was fabulous. One night, I went to see a lady I know who, she wasn't a psychic. She was very much into all the spiritual stuff, and she said, "Have you ever thought about getting into the spiritual side of things?" And I said, "Well, what are you talking about?" She said, "Well, it might do you some good, because you seem to be going down the wrong path." all of the time. You're hitting the drink, you're chatting up all the wrong girls, you're ending up losing everything you've got every time, and maybe you should just turn a corner and take a different path. And I said, I don't know how to. I've never had any other life. I don't know how to do that. So this lady, she's called Mandy, she actually started to teach me about crystals. Have you ever heard about those?
I use one above my sound studio because I was getting sound interference, and I thought it might be electrical problems. It turned out to be a spiritual problem, and by putting the crystal above my recording computer, the problem is gone.
Excellent. And I don't know a lot about crystals, I'll be honest, but she started me off with rose quartz for my heart, for the love I needed in myself, and a lot of other crystals, and she taught me a lot about them then. But I mean, it's stuff that I haven't really dealt with much since, and they work. They really, really work. I couldn't believe that my life was turning around. It was changing. And then all of a sudden, one night I was lying in bed, and I started to see weird things in my mind, and different colours, and I started to hear voices and see people's names that I knew, like relatives of mine. And I thought, what on earth's going on here? I can see things. I can hear things, and I'm awake. I'm not asleep. I'm not dreaming. I'm awake. I know what's going on outside. I can hear the wind outside. I can hear the lorries go by, and I know what's going on. So what's all this about? And what I have deduced from all that is the fact that was my spirit guides coming to me and helping me move on to the correct path that I should have been on many years ago, and which I am on now, I'm glad to say. And from that day, my life has changed totally, utterly and completely. I am a totally, totally different person. I now see, hear and speak to the dead most nights. I have visitations. I have people come through to me who want me to pass on messages to other people. I see people in my bedroom that are not actually there, but they are in spirit. Funnily enough, Christmas Day just gone, I was at my sister's house. I've been away for a week, and it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, AM, and I'm lying in bed, and all of a sudden I woke up with a bang. Poof. And I thought, why am I awake? What's this about? And I saw a great big letter G in my spiritual vision, very much like a dream, but in a vision. But I was awake. I was aware of what was going on around me. And I knew when I get a great big letter G, that's usually my uncle Gordon, who died about 10 to 15 years ago. And the reason I get a large letter G is the fact that he was a big man. He was huge. He was about 6'4". And then after that, I got 277, the numbers, and I thought, what on earth is that about? And I thought, maybe that's the day he died. That's just confirmation it is my Uncle Gordon. 27th of July, possibly the 7th. So when I went round that day to see my parents, I said to my dad, because my dad's an ex-policeman, and so was my Uncle Gordon, and I said to my dad, I said, what do you think this means? And I showed him the letter G and the 277, and he started to laugh. And I said, what are you laughing at? And he said, that was your Uncle Gordon's police number. And I thought, wow, that is confirmation enough for me. That is amazing. And I never knew that. I did not know that. And my Uncle Gordon had come through from the spirit world to say hi to everybody on Christmas Day. I mean, that
incredible. Wow.
Amazing.
Okay, we gotta give a cheer for that one. Uncle Gordon comes back. Right on, man. Right. That is groovy, man. Wow. Had to do that. That's quite a happy moment.
I could actually sit here talking forever and ever. There's so much happened to me. I mean, I've written 3 books now. Excuse me. I've written 3 books which are on Amazon. Am I okay to mention them?
Oh, of course. Go plug away. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Well, the first book I wrote probably 12, 15 months ago. It's called There's a Ghost in My House, and it's written by Spooks, myself, and it's on Amazon. It's an ebook, so it's good for Kindle and, that sort of stuff. That basically tells you a very brief story about myself when I was a little bit younger and how I got into all the spiritual stuff. The first maybe 30, 35 pages, and then the rest, the next 230 pages, are all about spirits, ghosts, visitations, visions that I've had, and they're all short, true stories. There are some photographs in there of real spirits, real ghosts that have never been seen before. None of the stories that I tell in my books have ever been heard before, because they're all about me, myself and my friends, things that have happened to us that are just totally unexplainable. My second book is called A Walk on Spirit Street by Spooks. Again, it's an ebook on Amazon, and my last book, which I've got out at the moment, is called Ashes to Ashes and Back, and that's by Spooks, and that again is on Amazon. My fourth book, I'm on page 52 of my fourth book, and that should be out hopefully middle of next year to the end of next year, and that will be called I Will Be Back. And the reason I called it that is because we do come back, and we can come back, and we will come back and visit our loved ones, when we're needed. Once we've passed over, we will come back and give our loved ones a little bit of love and affection and help if they're in times of need, or just on birthdays, wedding anniversaries, and like my Uncle Gordon on Christmas Day. And that's pretty much where I am at the moment, although there are a lot of stories I don't want to go into too much that are in my books. Like, I'll tell you one about my wife, who my wife, I got married in 1979, and she was a singer. I was DJing in a nightclub at the time, and she was a singer in a band, and we just met and fell in love, and hey ho, away you go. Unfortunately, because she was playing in a band, she disappeared, playing around all over the place, and met somebody else, and I didn't actually know what was going on, and I found out that she was seeing another guy. So we split up. She got remarried, and then one day I was doing a disco for some people, and this lady came across to me, and she stood in front of me about 6 feet away and looking at me, and I felt very uncomfortable. And I thought, what on earth is she looking at me for? And she come across and she said, "Hi, are you Spooks?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Oh, have you heard about Julie?" I went, "Julie who?" She said, "Your wife?" I went, "No." "Oh, well, she had a baby or something?" She went, "Oh, no, Spooks, no, she's dead." And I'm not kidding. It was like somebody had hit me in the stomach with a shovel, and it knocked me down on my backside. I sat down, and I couldn't breathe. I just burst into tears. It was such a shock. It was the biggest shock I've ever had in my life. And I managed to get through the night. I had a roadie with me, and he finished the night off. We packed the stuff in the trailer, and I went home, and I was lying in bed, and I lay there, and I was just saying, "Julie, just let me know you're okay. Please, I don't care what you do. Pull the sheets off me if you have to, or pull the quilt off me if you have to. Flash the lights, tap on the window, knock something off the shelf, I don't care. Let me know that you're okay." And I had the quilt over my head. I was just in tears. I was so upset, you wouldn't believe. And all of a sudden, a white light just lit my bedroom up, brighter than any light I've ever seen in my life. It shone through the quilt, and I actually thought it was a burglar, because I have a burglar light in my back garden. So I pulled the quilt off myself to jump out of bed really quickly, and I pulled one leg down onto the floor, and as I sat up, my wife was stood at the end of my bed in full figure, white, bright, shining light, and my hand on my heart, on my mum and dad's life. I'm telling you the truth. she stood there for a full 30 seconds. And I just said, please don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go, don't go. And she faded away gradually. And the feeling of love that she left in that room was unbelievable. And I've never worried about her since. What happens to me all of the time now. That's what happens to me.
I'm sorry. Yeah. How did she die from?
She was 31 years old. She had a heart attack.
What the hell would cause that?
Yeah, 31, and she was supposed to be as fit as a fiddle. She went to the gym. She went running all the time. She went to the gym 3 times a week. She never drank alcohol, only water. She only ate white meat, chicken, and fish.
Sounds very shocking, like how you would never expect that. So nobody ever found out what exactly caused the heart attack?
I didn't go into details. Well, I couldn't, because she wasn't my wife anymore.
Oh.
She had moved on to this other guy. But the fact that I spoke to a lady who was much higher and wiser than me spiritually, and I told her what had happened, and straight away she looked at me and her eyes filled with tears. She said, "Joe," she said, "that is amazing. That is just fantastic." She said the love and the power that she's used, the energy that she's used to come through is just amazing. She did that for you. It just shows how much love she did have for you, which I'm fascinated about, and I'm still into it big time. I was on, you've heard of Ghost Hunters in Canada, I take it? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was actually on the very first Ghost Hunters show. Must be 20 years ago, possibly, in the UK, and it was nothing like it is now. Nothing like it is now. Nowadays, it's all dark lights and screams, and I've been touched and things have been thrown at me. But back then, when they did the first one, it was just an interview, basically, and like you're doing now, pretty much. That was it.
Yeah.
But I had, I can tell you a little bit about it if you want to hear about it.
Sure, yeah, I'd love to hear about it. That's so long ago, nobody's going to remember. We got to remind them.
Oh, right. Well, I lived in a little flat in Devon in the UK, which is where I live now. And it always had a strange feel to it. And I kept, after probably 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years, I'd done the place up a little bit because a friend, I don't know if you remember, I mentioned Mandy, who got me into this spiritual stuff and showed me all the crystals. Well, this flat, actually, it belonged to her, and her relationship had split up, and she said, "Spooks, if you want this flat, you can have it." And I went, "What do you mean, have it?" She said, "Have it, pay the mortgage, and it's all yours." I went, "Really?" She said, yeah, take it, man, you know. So I moved in, and there was a lot of work to do in there, and I started to do a lot of work on it. Now, I don't know how many people listening know that if you do any work in a house that is haunted or has a resident spirit or ghost, then you tend to sort of wake them up, and if they don't like if they don't like what you're doing, they'll let you know.
Oh, they get really pissy at any changes.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what happened here.
Oh.
I started to do work and plastering and new this and new doors, new kitchen, put heaters, radiators, all sorts of stuff. And all of a sudden, I started to smell what was like a fishy smell.
Oh,
and
no.
I thought, what on earth is that? And somebody said to me, "Oh, it smells like the plaster drying off." And I thought, "Oh yeah, it could be." And it went on. But the strange thing, Wolfman, was that it came every single night, 7 nights a week at the same time, 5 minutes to 5 o'clock.
Are you sure it wasn't a hooker?
And
or?
I thought, that is bizarre. And
I'm familiar
I spoke
with
to my friend Mandy, and I said, "Did you ever smell this in this flat that you lived in?" She went, "No, never. So it went on, and we decided to get in a psychic medium. And he came in, and he said, "Yeah, you've got somebody coming through here." And he just stood there and shut his eyes, and he said, "You've got an itinerant fish merchant from something way back in the 1700s or something like that, and he's walking right through where your house is now, which was the path he used to take with his horse and cart.
Oh,
sadly,
my God.
Where your house is, he was attacked and murdered.
My Lord, wow! Did you look into it to find out whether?
Yeah. Well, this is what the TV show was all about. So they went and this medium gave me the guy's name, and he was called James Goldsworthy.
Okay, well, let's hang on right there, and right now we're gonna have a little. I'm gonna put on something really groovy. All right. Shalita Burke.
Not a dying art.
Penetrated. Alright, dig this.
True love must be fought for, baby. I cannot be bought. You're always at my heart now, baby. You've been craving me a lot. My touch is sought for, baby. I'ma call the shots. Won't you come to me, baby? Hi, I demand your attention. You live mine. Hi, I feel your intentions. You stay in my penetrate. Slow grind. I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. Slow grind, I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. If you wanna stay with me, you better treat me right now, baby. You want this love for free? You better hold me tight now, baby. You're making me so hard. Let's not get caught now, baby. I must want you along. You better not stop, oh baby. Hi, I demand your attention. You live mine. Hi, I feel your intentions. You stay in my penetrate. Slow grind. I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. Slow grind. I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. Slow grind. I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. Kissing my lips and your body is concentrated. Right here, right now, I'm making it complicated. You're giving me pleasure, I'm feeling intoxicated. Coming together, it's so we're situated. Slow grind, I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. Slow grind, I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts. Slow grind, I'ma be on top. Penetrate my thoughts.
This is the Monster Castle Paranormal Radio Show. We explore the paranormal phenomenon with researchers and skeptics from all walks of life and beyond. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, on KTLK Digital Broadcasting Network, thefringe.fm. Visit our website at monstercastleparanormal.com.
And we are back with Spooks, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. All right. Spooks, take it away, baby. Oh, yeah.
This was the fisherman who died. So we got in touch with the local records office, and they went through. And sure enough, on the date that this medium gave us was the date this guy died. And they found his records in the records office. That's when he died. James Goldsworthy. And that was the program they made on Ghost Hunters, the whole program. But there was a twist to it, because me being a driving instructor, the guy said, that's not it, there's something else about this story, and it's not over and done with yet. And sure enough, in a little while, I was teaching a guy to drive called Jimmy Taylor, and I was out there one day, and we were doing bits and bobs and teaching him how to reverse around corners and the usual thing. And we just got chatting after one driving lesson, and I said, wouldn't your parents teach you to drive? Or I can't remember the exact conversation. And he said, oh, no. He said, not my dad. He said, my dad's dead. He said, I've got a stepdad now. I said, what's his name? And he told me his name, and I said, well, how come that's not your name? And the funny thing was, what he'd done is he changed his name from Jimmy Taylor, to Jimmy Goldsworthy was his original name, and he changed it to Jimmy Taylor, or his mum did, when he was very, very young. And his real dad was called Goldsworthy. So what we decided was the fact that this James Goldsworthy came through from hundreds of years ago was something to do, not just the fact that I lived where he was murdered, but I was actually going to teach a guy that was related to him, and they wanted him to change his name back to carry on the family name, which is what he did, which was really quite bizarre. And it all worked out really, really well. When I told him the story about James Goldsworthy coming through, and this guy's called Jimmy Taylor, but his real name is not Jimmy Taylor, it's Jimmy Goldsworthy, James Goldsworthy.
My lord.
I know.
Oh, my lord, how things work out, eh?
Unbelievable. I mean, my books are full of stories like this, absolutely full of really bizarre stories.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's like high synchronicity.
Sorry?
I call it synchronicity. And yeah, that's high strangeness synchronicity there. Oh yeah, you can't call that a coincidence.
Well, there was an American lady who saw this TV program on the Discovery Channel, and she rang up the driving school I was working for and asked if she could speak to me. And they said, well, we'll get him to call you. So they gave me the number, and I called her, and she was living in London. And I said, hi, this is Spooks. You tried to get hold of me at the driving school. She went, oh, hi. She said, yeah, I need to talk to you. I said, what about? She said, I don't really know what it's about. I just had to talk to you. She said, I watched your TV program about the ghost and the James Goldsworthy. And she said, I just found it absolutely fascinating. And we were chatting for about an hour and a half, and we got into all sorts of stuff and how I was into the spiritual stuff. And she said to me, she said, do you know anything about dreams? I said, a little bit. Yeah, why? She said, I've been having this strange dream about I'm standing on the edge of the Pacific Ocean, she said, and I'm a young lady and I'm looking out to sea, and all of a sudden this bomber aeroplane came in and crashed into the sea, which was a World War II bomber, and it landed on the top of the ocean, and then the guy climbed out and he waved at me, and his name was Glenn Faldo. The name was shown underneath. And all of a sudden the plane sank and disappeared. And I went absolutely ice cold. And I said, let me tell you a story. She said, go on then. I said, I had regression done on myself. And I was a bomber pilot in World War II. She said, oh my God. I said, hang on, you haven't heard the best of it yet. I said, in my regression, my aeroplane crashed into the Pacific Ocean and I died. That is where I died. And she and I seemed to think that somewhere along the line we were connected. I mean, for her to ring up and tell me about that dream, which was pretty much exactly what I had seen in my regression, is unbelievable. I even got in touch with the Pentagon. I emailed the Pentagon and I said, what is the possibility, and I know that this is probably going to sound stupid and you're probably going to think I'm a crank and I need locking up. Can you have a look to see if you can find this guy, Glenn Faldo? And I explained the situation about what had happened. And funnily enough, this lady was a great believer, and she went through all the records for me, and she could not find, unfortunately, the name that we were looking for, she said the chances are he probably wasn't American or Canadian or anything like that, because there were so many different countries that were fighting in the Pacific at that time. And I think probably Glenn Faldo, I don't really know what country that would come from.
Okay.
So,
all right. Yeah, it sounds to me, Faldo, like an Italian or some kind of a, maybe even Hispanic, but Glenn, Faldo.
Well, that's the thing. You see, Glenn is a Scottish name.
Yeah.
Which is quite bizarre.
But the last name is different. Yeah, but Well, wow.
Well, I think I've given you enough to think about now.
Yeah. I'm going to check it out anyway. It's something to do. It's something for me to do. If it would help, I could help it.
Well, yeah. I'd love to know who I was. I mean, the Pentagon haven't got it on their records, so it's not a registered pilot. But I was a pilot. I saw myself in that plane. I was piloting that plane. I had the leather head, the helmet on with the earphones.
Sometimes the name gets mixed up in those kind of. She had a dream, right? And she remembered that name from a dream. Is that where it comes from?
That's right. And she saw the plane crash, and she actually said the Pacific Ocean. And now this is where I believe that I crashed my plane, because when my plane came down and crashed, it showed me then I was stuck inside the plane, and I was looking through the window, and I could see sharks. The water was blue, crystal clear, and there were sharks around me. Where else could it have been?
Yeah. How old were you? What year was it when you were born in this life?
I was born in 1951. So if I'd have died in 1945, say, that gives me 6 years, which is about right. They say you normally come back after around about anywhere between 3 to 7 years. You're back again in your next life, learning your next lessons.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I agree with you, sir, completely.
But the weird thing is that now you will never, ever, no matter how much you offer me, get me in an aeroplane. You will never get me on a boat across deep water. And you will never get me going through a tunnel because I'm claustrophobic. And I think this is all to do with my past life.
Different past lives, more than one. Like, the more you have,
I've had other, I've had others.
See,
I've been told that I was a female nurse in the Crimean War. I was around in the times of Genghis Khan. I was going around chopping people's heads and legs and arms off. I mean, I was a nasty guy back then, you know. So I'm glad to say that I've actually found my feet, and I'm a pretty nice guy in this life now, you know. And I treat people with respect. I treat women with respect, and I like to help anybody. All my spiritual work that I do, I don't charge for it. I ask them if they're happy with what I do for them. They put money into cancer research because that's how I lost my brother, and that's my charity. That's the one I would give all the money to.
I just wish that they do something good with that money. I have a bad feeling about it, that nobody really wants to give the cure on that one, and that's a money racket.
Well, it seems to be one of the diseases that they haven't really got a cure for at the moment. So, I mean, I keep it pretty local to where I am and give it to a fairly local cancer charity. They look after people when they go into the home.
Well,
they know them. They're not coming out again, and they give them a life of luxury for their last few weeks of life, or last few months of life, and that's, to me,
a little bit of dignity. Great. Yeah, that's great. That's an awesome thing. Well, I totally agree with that. It's just, you hear about all these things, and I've heard about this machine. Now we're going off topic, but uses electricity to actually kill the cancer cells, and they've known about it for years and years. They paid. Yeah,
they come up with things, but nothing ever comes to fruition, does it? They talk about it, and then you think, well, what on earth happened to that? Where the hell is it?
They get shoved under the rug. And I think paid off to shut up. Probably by the big pharmas.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Well, I think the big pharmas have everything to do with it. As a matter of fact, I think that some of the drugs that they're giving us are causing cancer, along with the petroleum that we're breathing every day when you walk down the street. The exhaust,
exactly.
the petroleum exhausts are doing it. I don't care what anyone says. I was a tobacco farmer, and it's not the tobacco. It could be chemicals that they mix in the tobacco.
I smoked 20 cigarettes a day, but I haven't. I used to many years ago, and I haven't smoked for probably nearly 30 years now, 25 to 30 years. I drink a couple of pints every night, probably a little bit more over New Year's Eve, but I used to be not so much an alcohol. Well, I suppose, I was a bit of an alcoholic, thinking about it, because I would drink.
Me too. All right, let's party. Okay, we're having a short break.
I would drink a whole bottle of gin a night and 3 or 4 or 5 pints as well. Okay,
I'm coming over next time I come. And maybe you can show me Stonehenge. Are you near Stonehenge?
Now you've hit the nail on the head. Well, here's the story for you.
Oh, but we got to take a break right here.
One break coming up.
Those of you who renounce this superstitious and hysterical program of the MCC.
You've seen ghosts. Talk about them. Aliens, talk about them. Are you kidding me, Wolfman? You literally had ghosts calling on a ghost box. But you're going to lose a lot of credibility. Lake Monster gobble you up in one fucking bite. I'm calling you out, my friend. You were scared of the girl from Texas. Well, I sure wouldn't be sitting there admiring the rippling glistening fucking muzzle of the fucking marsupial.
She was hairier than this ass punch. Oh my goodness. Who in the world are you? Over it like the angriest blood. Do your neighbors hear you? You must live in the forest for you to yell that loud.
The Monster Castle. Paranormal Radio.
Witnesses have described it as not quite right.
Alright, the Wolfpack.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
I'm only over here because I heard your sweet fucking voice on the phone.
This is the Wolfman Mike coming at you from an alternate reality, and you're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting Network, thefringe.fm. Alright, let's rock and roll, baby. Groovy. Fantastic.
Adam Strange from our own castle. Dig it, baby. Groovy. That was our own Adam Shadow. Yeah. And we are back.
I don't know why I thought that, because I just love that place, but I don't know why I asked that.
It's a beautiful place. Have you ever been there?
No, I had a chance once, and I turned it down because I was in a rock band, and we had a gig, and now I regret it.
Right. It's the most wonderful spiritual place you could ever go to. And I've been 2 or 3 times. In fact, I'm on my second book here, just flicking through on the internet, looking through my second book, A Walk on Spirit Street. And on page 35, 34, 33, page 33, I start talking about rocks and stones and how spiritual they are. And how some people, they get solace, they get great feelings from stones and rocks. And like myself, I like to go out and sit on the moors in Devon on what they call Dartmoor. Have you ever heard of Dartmoor?
Yeah, but I don't know much about it, but I've heard of it.
It's just a great vast expanse of huge hills and rocks and high things to climb, and I live on the edge of Dartmoor, and it's freezing sometimes, and it's windy. But when you get out there on Dartmoor, it is the most amazing. I've got this. When I'm giving driving lessons, I drive out on Dartmoor, and I just love it. I get a real buzz from it, and I don't know why. And I just love going out walking on Dartmoor. It's just an amazing thing. I mean, Stonehenge is in a totally different place. That's in a different county, but same sort of thing. It's a stone circle, which a lot of people can't really understand why it's there, what it was for. They've got their own ideas that it was a spiritual site of some description where they would perhaps give things to the gods, or it was a place for something else. But I was in the pub one night having a drink, and somebody said to me, "Spooks, why don't you try to find out what Stonehenge was originally there for?" And I just spun round on my seat and looked at him, and I said, "What a great idea. I've never give that a thought." So I went home and I mulled it over in my mind, and I had a chat with my spirit guides one night, and I said, "Could you possibly show me what Stonehenge was originally there for? What was it used for?" And I know my spirit guides are fantastic, and whatever the information they give me is 100%. They won't lie. They won't give me any false information. However, it's only as good as how I look at it, or how I deduce, what I can pick up from it. So I asked my guides, "Can you show me what Stonehenge was used for?" And they straight away started to show me pictures. And the first thing they showed me was Stonehenge in the distance, from looking from above. And then they showed me the sun, then they showed me the moon, and then they showed me an animal of some description. I couldn't remember what the animal was, whether it was a horse or a cow, or it was just an animal in front of me. And then they showed me an owl, and then they showed me a clock face, and then they showed me some trees, and then they showed me finally some fruit. Loads of fruit, apples, oranges, grapes, and this sort of stuff. And I had to work out what I thought that was all about, what they showed me for. And what I deduced from what my guide showed me was that Stonehenge was a giant clock of sorts, a calendar which showed the times of the day, the times of the week, the month, the year, and also the seasons. It would tell the people who went there when to plant and when to harvest and when to rest. It would maybe tell them when to bring in the animals from the fields for winter time, and when to let them out again in the spring. And maybe the animals were also sacrificed. I don't know. Maybe they were sacrificed there too, to the god that they believed in. The wise old owl, I think they were telling me this. Stonehenge at the time was a place of learning. It was a school, somewhere where people would go and learn about the seasons, about farming, when to plant the trees, when to pick the fruit, when to cut the crops. And I actually believe that what my guides were showing me, that Stonehenge was a school of life, a school of survival, and a place for people to go and learn about everything on how to survive, how you can survive, how your whole family can survive and be a successful farmer. And people then, once they had learned, because you see around Stonehenge they found that there were small houses that had been built as well, which weren't there anymore. But I think that these small houses were where people, like going to college. You know, when you leave school and go to college and you move away from home, and you'll go to college and you'll stay in a dormitory or in a flat somewhere with friends or whatever, and that's where you live while you're at college or university until you learn what you need to learn about. And I think that's what Stonehenge was, a place for people to go so that once they've learned everything, they can shoot off with their families and they can then build their own farm. And there are stone circles, as you probably know, scattered all over the world. Now, these stone circles are not as big as Stonehenge, obviously, but I believe that what the families then did is they went off and they built their own stone circles and they used them. They knew exactly where to put the stones. They knew how to set them up. They knew which direction they had to face the main headstone in, and that was their little mini Stonehenge. They knew when to plant, when to harvest, when to pick the fruit, when to put the animals out, when to bring them back, what time of the day it was, what time of the night it was, what time to go to bed, what time to get up. And Stonehenge told them all this, and I honestly think that's what it was. That's what my spirit guides were showing me. But
it makes a lot of sense.
Sorry?
It makes a lot of sense. Everything that you said, it makes perfect logical sense.
And I actually said to my guides, I said, can you tell me how, because it's a big question that nobody knows, how did they actually move the big stones from Wales, from South Wales in the UK, down to Salisbury Plain, where the Stonehenge is? And they showed me the word in capital letters, solution. And I looked at it and I thought, what on earth are they trying to tell me, my spirit guides? Why have they shown me the word solution? Have I got to work this out for myself, how they moved the big stones? And I thought, well, I don't know what that means. So I was then maybe a couple of days later, and I was driving on a driving lesson behind a car, and the registration on the car was OIL, oil.
Is this Wolfman?
Yeah, oh, welcome to the conversation. This is my friend Eric.
Were you trying to get me on, or was that somebody else? I wasn't sure.
Oh, no, it's you, yeah, because I just saw you were available, and I thought you'd love this topic we're doing right now. This is one of my co-hosts, actually, and I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Spooks from the UK, and we're talking Stonehenge right now.
Ah, right, okay. So I got the word solution from my spirit guides, and I was driving on a driving lesson behind a car a couple of days later, and the registration on the car was oil, OIL, and then some numbers. And all of a sudden it hit me, and I thought, that's what my guides are showing me. That's how they moved those stones on a oil-based solution. And I went back and I said to my spirit guides, is this how you move these big stones on an oil-based solution? And they showed me a great big round, how can you explain it to you? Like a big ball of stone, yeah?
Yeah.
And it was huge. And then they showed me wooden tracks, okay? Like a railway line, yeah?
Yeah.
And it was fastened together, but these tracks were in very short sections, and what they did, they put these big balls of stone onto the tracks. This is what they were showing me. And then they put the uprights of Stonehenge on top of these balls. Now, these balls were covered in some, like, oily solution. And I don't know what it was, but possibly animal fat or something. And the balls rolled, and the pieces of stone actually rolled across the top of the balls. And then they would pick... When they would pick the track up, and then they'd pick the track up and run it round to the front, put it down again, and the balls would carry on rolling along the track. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but except if they have to go up big hills or anything. Other than that, it's
I don't know how they did the hills, but you know.
I think they use sound vibrations, sound resonance, sound vibration.
Not sure. I don't know. I'm only going on what they actually showed me. My spirit guide showed me. But if you think about it, it's a fantastic way of doing it. They would have had ways of getting up the hill. I mean, look at them. They built the pyramids, for goodness sake, and they moved all those great big pieces of stone along on sand. You know, if they could do that back in the days, then why not? Why can't they get a ball up a hill?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Hey, Wolf, I don't know if you saw my text I sent you. I'm actually got to go to work.
Oh, that okay. Well,
my bad.
You got a question in. Well,
yeah. So you're not doing a show right now, are you?
Yeah, this is a pre-record. This is a pre-recorded show. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, right.
So if you want to ask any questions before you have to go, then go ahead.
I don't. So the topic is about Stonehenge. Is that what the topic's about?
Well, right now, like he's a spiritual medium, and some of his spirit guides were teaching him things about Stonehenge, and this is what he was researching.
Interesting. So what's country are you in, sir?
I'm in the UK.
Wow. Do you know Tony Topping by chance?
No, I don't know, no. I live about probably 120 miles from Stonehenge.
Wow.
So
have you spent a lot of time there as far as actually...
I have been there. I've been there quite a few times, probably 3 or 4 times I've been to Stonehenge. It's amazing. It's a wonderful feeling. But the strange thing is that after all this information I had from my spirit guides, and which I have spoken to several other mediums about it, and they've said, wow, Spooks, that it makes an awful lot of sense. It really makes sense. It makes sense. And I got in touch with Stonehenge and I rang them up and they just didn't want to know. They weren't interested in what I had to say. And I said to this lady, I can't believe that you don't want to know. You don't want to hear what I have to say. She said, that's not what we're not in. You know, the spiritual talking to the dead and this. I said, whoa. Hang on a minute. I said, Stonehenge is one of the most spiritual sites in the whole world, and you don't want to hear. And she did not want to know. I was absolutely gobsmacked. So I said, right, okay, fine, not a problem. I said, but it will be going in my book, which it did.
Huh? Yeah.
I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked.
No, they don't care about that kind of stuff.
First book, or have you? Because I'm new to.
Say that again.
Stonehenge. Will this be the first? Will this be your first one on Stonehenge, or have you written others also?
No, my book's not specifically about Stonehenge. I've written 3 books now, and my second book, A Walk on Spirit Street, has an article in there about 2 or 3 pages about exactly what I'm telling you now, is exactly what is in the short story. My books are all short stories. Some of them are half a page, some of them are 2 pages, some of them are 3 pages, but they're all true stories, things that have actually happened to me, myself, things I've seen, spirits I've seen, voices I've heard, visitations in my bedroom. I just tell the story as it happens, basically as it goes. I've got no reason to lie. I don't make money from it. Whatever money I make goes to cancer research. It's just something that happened to me in my life, and it took me on a totally different journey. And I'm now a totally different person. I don't think you would have liked to have known me 10, 15 years ago. I wasn't a very nice person. But since I've been into the spiritual side of things, they've totally changed me, and I love them for it. Absolutely love them for it.
Wow. So, Wolf, how did you meet this gentleman? This is very interesting.
Yeah, seem to have a knack for finding very interesting people that haven't that need to be heard, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like to. I don't.
Guys, how long are you guys going to do the show for? Because I'm gonna work for about an hour and a half. And are you going to still be doing the show for 2 hours or 3 hours, or what's the plan today?
Well, we're just doing half-hour sections, and I don't know how many we'll get done today. So we're doing a half hour at a time, and then.
And don't forget, it's New Year's Eve tomorrow, so I want to be going out and having a few drinks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, you can start having drinks now if you want. I think we should all start having drinks right now. Call in work.
I actually already had a few shots. I came back from L.A. You saw my tweets probably, driving in the rain for 4 hours. But I took a few shots of a little vodka.
Good for you.
Cheers.
And put it in my coffee. Actually, I put it in the coffee and.
Cheers, mate.
Got a little green medicine, and now I got to go lift about 400 pounds onto the truck and take it to some lady's house and collect some money. It's all legal, though. It's all legal.
I'm glad to say. Good
stuff.
So, hey, it was nice to meet you, sir. What's your name? I'm sorry, I didn't get the name. I apologize. Spooks. Well, are you on Twitter?
Oh, you're talking to me. Sorry, I don't know who's talking to who at the moment. Yeah, Spooks, my name. That's the name.
Are you on Twitter, Spooks?
Yes. Yeah, that's the name I write my books under.
Do you do social media like Twitter?
Yes, he's on Twitter. I'm
on Twitter, yeah.
Okay, great. I'll follow you on Twitter and.
Well, if you have a look on Twitter, my name on Twitter is @OneSpookyBooks.
@OneSpookyBooks.
It will be posted on hashtag 47Talk on Twitter.
Awesome.
Shortly when I advertise the show.
Beautiful.
No problem.
I think I'll use this show.
Now is going to be on later tonight.
It's going to be on New Year's Eve. I think.
Okay, so today's Friday, right? Are you doing a live show?
Doing a live show tonight, and this one will probably go on tomorrow night then, because no guests will come on New Year's Eve, so I'll use this.
Right on. Yeah, I got some good stories to tell you from what happened at John Polk's house. Some very interesting things. Some things I learned that I didn't even know about.
Wow.
But I'll tell you about it later.
We could do a whole show on it.
Yeah, we could. I'll see how. I mean, I slept since yesterday.
I had I had a gut feeling to get a hold of you right now, even though I was doing this interview.
The timing was perfect actually, because I'm driving to my warehouse right now.
I know it was an imperative. I said something was telling me, no, even though you're doing this interview, you got to get a hold of Eric right now.
Yeah.
So I did.
I wish I had time to do more research on what Spooks is talking about, because I mean, I don't know. I know Stonehenge, but I don't know very much to be able to talk intelligently about any topics. But the whole oil concept of using oil is interesting, because I've never thought of it or considered it. So it's now something I'm gonna have to look at. You know, I mean, if you're spirit guides
when I say oil, they probably didn't have an oil as such back then, but it would probably be more like an animal-based oil, which made things like slightly
maybe a lard of.
Yeah.
Fat lard or something. Well, here's the question:
the word my spirit guides gave me was solution, and I had to work it out. And
I was thinking
when I followed the car with the name oil on the registration. That was it. That's when I clicked.
What about the types of beings that were responsible for manipulating these things? I'm guessing, were they the Nephilim, or was it they weren't just pure humans like you and I walking the earth today, were they?
Well, I didn't. It didn't actually go that far. I didn't go that much into it. I mean, I was only asking a question as to what was Stonehenge for, and how did they move the stones. But as I explained to Wolfman earlier, that it was my belief that the whole thing was used as a college or a university of some type for people to go along and learn about survival, about life, and how to plant, when to put the animals out, when to bring them back, when to harvest, all about life, survival basically. And then once they learned from that, they would go off on their own, get married, move into their own little farms out on the moors somewhere or wherever, and they would build their own little Stonehenge and use that as their as their clock, basically. And I think that's what Stonehenge was. It was a huge clock, and that's all it was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, did you already talk to him, Wolf, about at what point in his life these experiences or these guides introduce themselves, or have you got to that part yet?
Briefly, yes. The first section.
I missed that.
Yeah. I think we're going from here is probably. You could recap that if you want. I don't know. Where do you want to go from here, Spooks?
Recap. Sorry, about
when the spirit guides actually introduced themselves to you.
Oh, right back at the beginning.
Yeah.
How old were you approximately? Do you recall?
It was about 20. I'm 65 now, and it was about 26 years ago, when my guides came to me, and they started showing me pictures in my mind. They started off with colours, actually really vivid colours, and a friend of mine introduced me to the spirit world using crystals, basically, rose quartz and that sort of stuff. And that's how I actually got into it, because I was going off the rails, I was going off the tracks, I was meeting the wrong people, I was meeting the wrong women, I was going down the wrong road, basically, and
that's funny.
They pulled me back.
I think I could share that sentiment with you, sir. It was about 37 or so, 37 to 42 is when I had my awakening.
Yeah, about the same as me. Yeah.
Yeah, we would go through the school of hard knocks first. Well,
it's all about life. It's all about life's learning curve, and you have to learn in life, and that's what we're here for. Each life is a special life to each time we come back, and we have to learn about that life. And I had a conversation with somebody today about somebody who was into drugs, big time into drugs, and they'd lost their job, they'd lost their house, they'd lost their wife, they'd lost their children, and they were virtually homeless and on the streets, and all he wanted to do was to kill himself. And I said, whoa. I said, you need to talk to this guy and tell him that's not the answer. That is not the answer, because the moment you commit suicide, all right, it might be over and done for you right there and then. I said, but you're going to come back again, and you are going to have to live that life again until you learn the correct way to put things right, not just cut it short.
Exactly. And the more and more times you do this, I forgot to mention in the earlier section, is where you become an older and older soul. Your soul becomes older. That's when people say you're an old soul. Sometimes the psychic will tell you that, oh, you're an old soul. Well, that's what that means. You've come back.
You will come back about 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 times, and relive a life, or you will have another life until you've actually learned everything that there is to learn.
It could be
once
hundreds.
You learned everything, you would then become a spirit guide or whatever. You come back and be reborn into this life again, and you become what I call a do-gooder. And you're one of these people that goes around, you don't hate anybody, you don't dislike anything, you're quite happy to work for nothing and just help anybody and everybody on the planet. And I think that's what happens to you. I believe I spoke to you about my uncle Gordon, who keeps coming back to me, didn't I, earlier on? Probably about an hour ago.
Yeah.
And I believe he is one of my spirit guides now, since he died. And he keeps coming back to me all the time. And when he does, I mean, my granddad comes back to me quite a lot as well. When there are problems in the family, my granddad comes back. And I know when he's there because I smell cigarettes. And he was a heavy smoker. I get shown a photograph in my mind of a cricket ground, and his house was right next to a cricket ground. And then I feel the side of my bed when I'm lying in bed. I feel the bed go down as if somebody's sitting on the bed, and I just pull my knees in and I'll just say, "Hi, Granddad, what do you want?" And then he starts showing me things, pictures in my mind that need sorting out. I need to go to Auntie so-and-so or Uncle so-and-so and tell them this and tell them that. He's not happy with this, he's not happy with that. And just because you're dead, just because you're in the spirit world doesn't mean that it's all over and done with and you don't care. Of course you do. You still care, you still love your family, and you still want to help. And if your family have got problems, you want to come back and help them.
Yeah, that's amazing, eh? That is amazing. So what's one of the strangest things that you were told that you had, or a more interesting story that earlier?
Well, I've got many stories, and as I say, I've written 3 books, and they're all full of these stories. I think one of my first ever amazing vision I ever had was I was lying in bed, and these all happened around about 3 a.m. in the morning, which is the most spiritual time, apparently. This is when most things happen, and I'm always woken up with either somebody shouting my name, Spooks, or a bang on the door, a bang on the floor, or a door slamming. But it doesn't actually happen. It's all in your head. It's a spiritual noise, and they wake you up. And once they've got your attention, then they will start to show you things. And I one day was woken up, and I was whisked off, a little bit like Warp Factor 10 Star Trek. You know how it goes woof and it's gone. And all of a sudden I was stood in the middle of a river, and it was as clear as day. And I'm looking down the river's flowing either side of me. It was about up to my knees, the water, and on the left-hand side, looking down, was a toll path, like people were walking down, or you could walk down the side of the river on this little path. And then there was a ditch and some trees and bushes. And the trees, I'll tell you how clear it was. They were silver birch trees. That's how clear the picture was. I could see that by the bark on the trees. And I've just stood looking down this river, and I'm looking from side to side, and all of a sudden on my left-hand side, a lady walked down past me, and I turned to look at her, and she had a couple of dogs with her. And as she walked down the toll path, there's a bush at the side of the river, and from the bush, out from behind the bush came, it was quite bizarre, it was like a black cloak, if you can imagine what a magician would wear, or the devil, with a big high pointed collar. And this cloak went right over the top of this woman, and that was it. I was awake, and I sat up in bed, and my heart was bang, 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 bang. It was pounding away, and it frightened the life out of me, actually. And the next day, because my dad's an ex-policeman, I write everything down, and I always tell him everything I see in a vision. And I spoke to him, and I told him what I'd seen, and he was an ex-detective, and he said, "That doesn't look good, Spooks." He says, "I think you need to go back and see if you can ask some more questions." I said, "Well, what about?" Because this was pretty much at the beginning of my learning. And he told me to go back and find out where all this was supposed to be happening and everything else. And I went back and I asked if I could have a name, and they gave me the name of a village, which was Canton. And they then showed me a picture of this man, and he was holding a lady, and he was dragging her into the bushes round the neck. And they then showed me his right hand, but they surrounded his right hand in light, making it a little bit more aware of what was going on. And he had a wedding ring on his right hand, or a ring on his right hand, third finger. And when I told my dad about this, he said, "She's been murdered by her ex-husband." And I said, "Well, what makes you say that?" He said, "Because they're showing you his right hand, his wedding finger on his right hand." He said, "Which hand do you get married with?" And I said, "The left." He said, "Well, there you go." He said, "When you get divorced or separated, you take your ring off and usually put it on the right hand." I went, "Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Never thought of that." Well, within 2 days, they'd found this lady, and she'd been murdered. She'd been strangled with the pieces of rope, the dog leads around her neck, and they eventually, after about 24 hours, arrested her ex-husband and charged him with murder. And it was just outside the village that they showed me the name of. My spirit guide showed me the name, and it all came true. And I see a lot of this sort of stuff, things that are going to happen, and they always happen. Princess Di, I saw her crash exactly as it happened, exactly almost a year to the day, all by a couple of days. And I saw the car, I saw it go into the tunnel, I saw the crash. I saw a white car come alongside it and disappear. And then the black car that Princess Di was in reversed back and came out of the tunnel the same way it went in, which in fact it did, but it was on the back of a lorry because it was totally wrecked. And I asked my spirit guides, was Princess Di murdered? And they showed me N-O. No, it was not murder. It was a pure accident. And I don't need to ask any more questions because that's as much as I need to know. And again, this is what I see. This is what happens.
Wow. What else was I going to ask you about?
Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, that is quite amazing. Yeah, one thing it just bothered me. What is a lorry?
A lorry, a juggernaut.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like a... pardon me? Is it like a bus or something?
Hello.
Oh, hello, Ellen.
How are you?
Good. Okay. We're talking with Spooks from the UK right now.
Yeah.
And we're doing a pre-recorded interview. So if you want to listen for a while and then ask questions, you're welcome to. This is
lovely. I'll do that.
All right. This is Ellen from Ireland. Spooks?
Yeah, from Mysterious Holidays.
Mysterious Holidays, yeah. I thought we were supposed to have a sound test today. I didn't think you'd mind, Spooks, if I let her in. Oh, geez, I lost him. Hang on.
Okay.
I have to phone you back. I'll have to phone you back, and I hung up on him by accident.
We cut him off. Okay, look, don't worry about me. I don't mind if you don't call me back.
But the sound test worked anyway, so that's good. You sound great.
Grand, and I can understand you, and you can understand me, and don't worry about calling me back until you're finished with them.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so
bye-bye.
much. Okay, have a good day. And I'll probably call you. I'll probably call you later today.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Groovy, far out, excellent, right on, and I like it, and I dig it. Yeah. Here we go.
Alrighty. That's no good. Skype.
Hi, back again.
Oh, Skype dropped on me again.
Yeah.
But it was right at a half hour anyway, so...
The Monster Rock Band, an original from Monster Castle again. Featuring my brother.
Right
This is Wolfman Mike. And quite an interesting topic that day we had. And about Stonehenge. And, well, we can get this guy back on anytime. He just likes to be on early. He doesn't like to do really late night stuff. Well, he's in UK, so I'm thinking we could put him on the Dirty Rotten Toro show, and that would be perfect right in the morning when he's eating his brekkie. Have some more spooks, yeah. We need lots of spooks around here in the castle. We like spooks. Any guy that calls himself Spooks is cool, in my book.
And then, we got showed up by these little bastards come up there, and they got the same boombox. But it's got, when they press eject, it's got cushion eject. When I pressed my eject, the tape just shot out. Theirs came out slowly. And they had other things to adjust the treble, the bass, the left to right speaker for the mono speakers. But it all sounded fucking same. And they're sitting there screwing with their shit for 30 fucking minutes. And I could put a tape in, I could press play, and I could play dance, and I could stop it, I could eject the tape, and it would fly out there, and I could change another fucking piece. And these guys are over here making a cushion eject in their treble bass line. Fuck you guys. That's what you're doing, man. You're fucking the slave to the fucking technology. You're buying into this bullshit. If you got a fucking brain, if you had any old school in you, you can do it like we used to do it. Just press play. Enjoy the eject button. They shoot the shit out. You don't need the cushion eject. You lost your old school. You turn into Britney fucking Spears.
Yeah, we're back, and I was meaning to ask you, since I'm aspiring DJ, I'm trying to be a DJ, doing my best I can, but I'm just doing it on my own. I used to be a musician, right? So I just wonder, any pointers you have for me, or anything you could tell us what it was like when you were a DJ.
Right. Well, I started as a DJ in small clubs, and basically it was they just happened to like my voice. I think that was the main thing. But nowadays things have changed an awful lot in the UK anyway. I don't know about in the States or in Canada, where nowadays DJs in clubs tend to sort of mix music quite a lot rather than too much talk in between. However, there are different types of DJs, which I've tried to explain to people before. If you're a club DJ, then yes, you will play back to back to back to back music pretty much non-stop, and it'll be hi, good evening, and then good night at the end of the night, and that's pretty much it in a nightclub. If you're a mobile, what we call mobile DJs over here, and you've got your own equipment, you go out doing weddings and birthdays and that sort of stuff, then they will want a little bit more chat, but not too much. If you've got nothing to say, don't say anything. That's what I was always told. And introduce yourself, introduce one or two records, introduce it when they put the food out, you know, and introduce the bride and groom's first dance and the usual sort of stuff. But a lot of people let themselves down. And one of the worst things in the world, it is one of my pet hates, is not so much on radio, because it's all part and parcel on radio, but when you're a DJ and you're out doing a wedding and you're playing jingles. You know what I mean by a jingle?
Oh, would you like to hear a jingle that we came up with? Here's one for you. I believe you like it. Spook.
Alright, yeah. Can you dig it? Fantastic. It's your invitation to avoid the nauseation, frustration, desolation, mutilation, degradation. We like to rock, and this is a donation station. Yeah, baby. Go to monstercastleparanormal.com and donate today. Keep us rocking, man.
An intro, false clapping, and that sort of stuff. That sort of stuff when you're doing a live disco at a wedding or a birthday. Jingles are just so bad. They really are. On radio, it's all part and parcel of the show, and I used to use lots and lots of jingles in my radio show that I used to have, but very, very different when you're doing live DJing. The music is more important. That's what the people are there for. They want to get up, they want to have a dance, they want to enjoy themselves, and you can soon read the audience pretty much, and you'll get to know whether they want you to say anything, whether they want you to take the mickey out of them and have a bit of a laugh. Sometimes you can say something and get upset, and you know, I've been grabbed round the throat a few times when I've said something I shouldn't have done. But again, it's a learning curve, and you learn as you go, and you know when to keep your mouth shut.
I've got a really cool jingle right here. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the way I put together.
What is it?
A woman being electrocuted.
Oh, nice. But I mean, my radio show, when I went from live DJing to doing radio shows, it was a totally different thing altogether. And as you know, you sat there on your own, you're talking to, the way I was taught, you're talking to one person only. You're out there and you imagine somebody sat in front of you and you're talking to that person. Although you're talking to the world, you're talking to one person, and that's how you've got to deal with it. But I did, my show was pretty much a music comedy show, and I had lots and lots of characters. As I said to you earlier, I had a guy called Wolfman Geordie. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the UK, but a Geordie in the UK is somebody who comes from Newcastle, in the northeast, and they talk like, "Why are you like, yeah, right? Like, you know, you talk like that, like," and that's how they talk, and that's a Geordie accent. And this guy had the Wolfman Jack voice with a very deep voice, but with a Geordie accent.
Oh yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, right, like, you know, right. Oh, it's all right. Take it everywhere.
And he what we characterised him as was an old man, a really old man, and he was a real miserable old bugger. He was.
I can't even do that accent. I could do a lot of different accents, but that's hard to do. A Geordie accent with Wolfman Jack, that's hard.
But this guy had it off to a T, and it was great. And we characterised him as an old man in his 80s, early 90s, who hated everybody, hated life, hated everything. And he used to ring me up live on air, and he used to say, "Is that the DJ?" And I said, yeah, how can I help you? He says, "Can you turn the music down? You keep me awake." And I said, "What do you mean turn the music down? You've got knobs on your radio, mate. Use them, you know." And we'd get into a full-blown argument on air, you know. And he just hated absolutely everything. I can't do it the way this guy did it, but he was fantastic. And we took the mickey out of TV adverts, and we had a guy called, Pete the Pig. We had a guy called Pete the Pig.
Wow, that sounds like fun, man.
It's quite funny. And we used to do quizzes, and I actually invented a game called Radio Darts.
Radio Darts, wow.
We used to play on the radio, and it all started from a piece of equipment that we got when I was working in a nightclub, and it was publicising, what was it? Heineken beer, I think it was. And it was a dartboard on a piece of cardboard, and it had like an arrow on it, and you would spin the arrow, and where the arrow stopped, that was what you got. Double top, whatever, bullseye or whatever. And I incorporated that with all the sound effects of the darts and people cheering and glasses chinking and drinking and this, that and the other. And the way it worked is that people would ring me up, and I'd have two people playing each other, and I would ask them a question. If they got the answer right, then they got to throw a dart. And of course I had all the sound effects of the whoosh, doing, the darts landing into the dartboard and everything.
Awesome.
And it was great. And it worked really well. And as soon as I introduced, we're just about to play Radio Darts now, so get your fingers on the dials, and here we go. The lights on the switchboard were bang, 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 and that was it, you know. And then one night, I had a phone call. I was on air, and I had a phone call from this guy from BBC in the UK, and he said to me, "Hi," he said, "I'm very interested in your game of Radio Darts. Fascinating. How does it work?" And of course I told him exactly how it worked, and within 3 or 4 months they had it on Radio 1 on the BBC.
They stole it off you.
They nicked it from me.
Oh.
I'm not bothered.
Bastards.
I'm really not bothered if that's what they want to do, and that got them listeners, then fair enough. But you know, they can steal it and they can say it was their game, but I know in my heart of hearts that I invented that game.
Wow. Where did you get all your sound effects? Did you make them?
Yeah, lots and lots of sound effects. I mean, we had a huge library, a record library, and we had everything. We had sound engineers, newsreaders. We had a lot. It was a proper local radio station. And I actually had, funnily enough, on one of my shows, the show I did on a Sunday morning, I did a 60s music show, and I had more than 87,000 listeners to my show on a Sunday morning. And that's pretty good for a small town, you know. Although it did go over the whole of Devon. And I loved it, absolutely loved it. But all the jingles I made myself. I had some great sound effects, and I did like it. I did like what I did, although the money wasn't particularly very good back then. But I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I loved, in my heart, I loved doing what I was doing, and it was just something, like I said to you earlier, if you love what you do, you'll do it well.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I definitely don't make a lot of money off this, but I love doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I do it. And, you know, I add a lot of my sound effects myself. Like, I'll use this Jews harp right now, and, you know, I'll play games with the... say somebody calls in, you know, I'll ask them, hey, let's do a game right now. I need you to... Can you please jump up and down a little bit, and I'll do the sound effects. You're a rabbit. You're a big big rabbit.
That's exactly the sort of stuff. And I had a lady. I can't remember what I called her. something like Annabelle or something like that, and she was Canadian, and she was a friend of mine who lived pretty close to me, and she used to go to the nightclub where I was working at the time, and I asked her if she wanted to come in and do some voiceovers, and she said, "What for?" And I said, "Well, I have an idea." So we went into the studio when it was closed one night, and we did lots and lots and lots and lots of short little clips, her saying things, "Hi, would you like a coffee? What time is it? Don't you think it's about time we went home?" You know, little clips like this. And I had about 100 of them. And I could have a conversation with her. And she would always come in at the beginning of the day, just as I'm starting my show. "Hi, do you want a coffee? Well, excuse me, I'm on air. Can you just wait for 2 seconds? Oh, I'm so sorry," you know, and this sort of stuff, you know. And these were all lined up, these little jingles, and I would just press them and have a conversation with her. And she was never there. It was just the jingle. And everybody, when we did the road shows, we went out and did the road shows out around the city and all over the place. And people would say, "Hey, where's Annabelle? I want to meet her. She sounds gorgeous." She was, actually. She was a real person, a real Canadian lady. Although she only ever came into the studio, recorded her voice, and it was brilliant. And that went on for, must have been 3 or 4 years I used her voice.
Oh, yeah. Here's one of our jingles here.
All kinds of colors, and they spin round, and those, it was just wheels in the sky. Wheels within wheels, all giant. I saw wheels in the sky. I saw lights, and they were spinning. Wheels in the sky. One source that you have. Wheels in the sky. Wheels in the sky. There's one type of wheel in the sky. Period. Ezekiel chapter 1, wheels in the sky, and nothing else.
That's one.
Well, that actually is quite bizarre, because that takes me back to my radio show, and I had another guy that I used to use on my radio show called Commodore, and the Commodore was a somebody from outer space. And I had a very similar type of jingle than that to that, and it would come down, and he would come down and land in his spaceship with all the sound effects and landing and everything. And his voice was very similar to that, but a lot deeper. We used the voice changer, and he had although he had an echo in his voice, he had a really deep voice. But Commodore only came once a night to my radio show when I was on. Once a week. On my radio show, but he came to give good advice. He would talk to me about the perils of drugs, the perils of drink, sex before marriage, sexual diseases, sex underage.
Oh my gosh!
And he would talk about it and how he would come down, because he said we are from a planet where we do nothing wrong. We all love each other. There are no wars. There is only pure love.
There is no wars. Only pure love.
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly like that, but much deeper, and that's exactly how he was. But you could understand what he was saying. You could listen to him, and I would talk to him and say, "Well, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, why don't kids today think like that, you know?" And it was educational more than anything. And he came up with some fantastic ideas, some great stuff. Now, this was my engineer that did all this for me. It wasn't all my doing. A guy that used to come along with me, Ray, and he was fantastic. He was from the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man? I think the Isle of Man. It kills, and how it destroys families, and how it destroys marriages, and how it will destroy your insides, each internal organ, bit by bit by bit. And when you've lost everything, all you want to do is kill yourself. And why should your life have to be like that? Because drugs, awful things. And it's one of the things in my life that I hate the most. And I just can't put into words how much I despise and hate drugs. Absolutely hate them. I've seen so many people go down Not just drugs, but drink as well. I mean, drink. We all like a drink. We all like to, get merry and have a few drinks and get drunk sometime. But when it goes beyond that, or when it becomes a habit that you just can't get out of, and you need a drink first thing in the morning, you need a drink during the day, you need a drink last thing at night, that's when you know you've got a problem. And I've lost so many of my friends through drinking and drugs. Even to a guy, funnily enough, who, in fact, I've got his story right in front of me. I was going to tell you about him earlier. He used to come in the pub where I used to drink, and I'll call him Ian for this story. And he never used to eat much. Very, very intelligent guy. Very intelligent guy. He was an ex-Marine, and he was married. And he, for some reason, I don't know what it was, he turned to drink, and he couldn't stop drinking. And he wouldn't eat much. And I used to say to him, well, why don't you eat? And he said, because I'm drinking Guinness. That's my food. That's a food. I said, it's not, Ian. It really is not. And he got to the point where he was drinking first thing in the morning. As soon as the shop opened, he'd go up and buy cheap wine or cheap cider, strong, the strong, horrible stuff that rots your guts. And he would drink that, and then he'd come into the pub after lunch, and he'd get drunk in the pub, and then go back out to the shop again and get some more bottles of cider or bottles of wine and drink and drink. And this is every day, 7 days a week. And he was just constantly drunk. And it got to the point where he started to get a swollen stomach. And my friend, who's an ex-nurse, said, his days are numbered, Spooks, mate. Honestly, his days are numbered. And I said, why? He said, well, just look at his colour. He's like a yellow colour. That is not good. That means his organs are starting to give up on him. He has to go to the hospital now once a week to have fluid drained off his stomach. And it was just soul destroying. It really was soul destroying just to see this guy wreck himself like this. And within 2 months he was dead. A fantastic. You see, the thing is, my brother-in-law, he's not a great believer in the spiritual matters like myself. He thinks it's such a load of rubbish. Until one night, when I talked to him about it, he said, "Load of rubbish," and he walks off and just slams the door and off he goes. And then one night, my sister rang me up and he said, my brother-in-law's been seeing strange things. I said, what do you mean strange things? He's drunk again. He said, no. In the middle of the night, he started seeing pictures in his mind, and he was awake of, he's a lorry driver. He drives big trucks, big, 18-wheelers, sort of 20-ton trucks or whatever they are. And he goes abroad, he goes all over the place. And he lives in the cab for 5 days a week. And he kept seeing the same vision over and over and over again. He's driving down a country lane, and in the ditch on the left-hand side is a bicycle and a skeleton. And he kept seeing this same vision every week. He would see this vision until one day my sister rang me up and said last night he was downstairs and he was in the kitchen having a drink, crying. He was actually crying, and she said, I went down to see what was going on, and he said, I don't want to see any more of this. I don't want to see this vision again. What is it? Am I going to die? Am I going to have a crash? He said, I'm scared. I'm really, really scared. He said, just can you tell them to go down to see Spooks in Devon and, show him, not me. And he kept seeing his dad also at the end of the bed who had died. And he told his dad, he said, please go down and see Spooks in Plymouth. I don't want to see this. So it was probably about a month after that, I had a phone call from my sister, and she said, do you want to sit down? I said, why? She said, I just want to tell you something. I said, it's not your husband, he's not dead, is he? She said, no, but it is about him. I said, what's happened? She said, well, he was in France in his lorry, and he's driving along a country lane in France, and all of a sudden, he said he wasn't going particularly fast because he was looking for somewhere, and all of a sudden, from a ditch at the side of the road, this guy stumbled out in front of his lorry, and he said, I hit the brakes and stopped the lorry on a dime, literally bang, like that. And this guy just collapsed in front of his lorry, and there was a bicycle in the ditch. He'd fallen off his bicycle. The bicycle had gone into the ditch. This guy had crawled out in front of his lorry, and he just collapsed in front of the lorry. So he jumped out, and he realised this guy was having a heart attack, because my brother-in-law had already had a couple of heart attacks. And he got this, I don't know what it was, something he puts on his tongue to help him with the heart attack, and he was doing heart massage or whatever he was doing, and a tractor came the other way with a guy on it, but he was French, and of course my brother-in-law doesn't speak French, and he was trying to explain that he hadn't run the guy over, he needed the ambulance, or the gendarme as they call them over there. And eventually he understood, and he got his mobile phone out and he called the gendarme, and a helicopter came over, picked this guy up and took him off to hospital and saved his life. And when he left his name and address and phone number with the local police in France, or the local gendarme, and it was a few weeks later he had a phone call from this guy, and he was the mayor of the town, and he was the guy who had the heart attack, and my brother-in-law had saved his life.
Wow.
And he said, I want you to come over, and the town, you have the key to the town. He says, we will pay for whatever you and all of your family. You want to come over for a couple of weeks and have a good time? He says that it's all on the town. We'll pay for it. And he said, no. He said, I don't want to come over. He said, thanks very much. He said, but what I would like you to do, whatever money you were going to spend on me, put towards your heart foundation over in your local town or over in France somewhere. And that's what he did.
Amazing story.
So,
That was amazing.
Anyway, just to round it all off, it was his dad who'd come through, and he was showing him all these visions and pictures. And I was stood in my little cottage, and my lounge, or my front room, is upstairs in my cottage. It's sort of an upside-down house. And I was stood at the top of the stairs, and I was talking to my sister about exactly what had happened. And up my staircase, I couldn't believe it. And I've seen orbs before, but I've never seen an orb. You know what an orb is, don't you?
Oh, I've seen many.
Yeah, well, this was the size of a football. And it came up my stairs. It was pure, beautiful white light, really slowly coming up the stairs. And it got to the top of the stairs, and it hovered in front of me. And I went, oh, my God! My sister said, what's up, what's up? I said, you are not going to believe what I'm looking at, I'm staring at right now. And all of a sudden it went whoosh, and it was gone out the end of the cottage. And the feeling of love this orb had left behind. And I know who it was. It was my brother-in-law's dad. He'd come down because we'd sorted all the problem out between us, and he'd got through it, and he was okay. And that was his dad coming down. But I'd said to him before, because his dad was called Joe, and I'd said to him previously, probably 2 years previous to this all going on, and he said, oh, shut up, will you? It's such a load of rubbish. And anyway, I'd gone out to get the Sunday newspaper, and I walked back, and I was trying to explain to him about his dad is okay, you know, everything's going to be fine. And he said, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to, just give us the paper. So I threw it down on the coffee table, and it flew open, and the...
Hang on right there. Oh, yeah. We're going to have some music. We're going to, in honor of the heavy alcohol, I'm going to do a song, Wolfpack Original. This is from the, what do we call ourselves again? Oh, yeah. Monster Rock Band. And this is a Monster Castle Paranormal Original. This is called... Vomit.
I think it all. You cannot understand. I think it all. I can be consumed if I can free. You need someone with me. Have a meal for free. Rolling out society is a pile of shit. The words are rolling out. I eat society. I puke it out. I said it's out my opposite. Opposite out man. Puke it out man. Puke it out man.
Serve it to me in a styrofoam dish.
I don't remember eating that.
Sports magazine on the on the inside of the newspaper fell down on the floor, and the headline said Joe is okay now, and that was the headlines on that was right in front of him. That was his dad's name, because he wanted to know how his dad was in spirit. And I told him, he said, load of rubbish, I don't believe you. And I said, there you go, mate, there's your answer from your dad.
Yeah. I get these little synchronicities all the time. That's a major synchronicity. It's impossible for that to happen by coincidence, I think. That's so cool.
Well, when I'm having so much happen to me all the time, every other night, at least 2-3 times a week, I'm having visitations. I'm having somebody coming through. I'm having somebody waking me up and showing me stuff. It's more than, just a coincidence. I know there is life after death, and I don't care what anybody says. I lost my brother in 2012 on the day before my birthday. And I was at my sister's house.
Can I just say one thing before I forget? Yeah. Be careful of the red ones. The big or red orbs. I've encountered some of those. The white ones are usually, very peaceful. The red ones are not so much.
They're not so good. They're an energy, real.
I'm not sure if they're.
Energy,
I don't know if they're evil or what, but I just say be careful of them. I'm not sure what they are.
Well, there are different coloured orbs, and they all do different things. They all mean different things, and you can actually read about them on the internet. And I won't even pretend that I know about them all, because I don't. But what I was about to say was about my brother. Before I go, he died in 2012, or the day before my birthday, just to prove a point that they do come back from the dead. And it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was woken up, and I was lying in bed with my eyes closed, and all of a sudden I saw my brother on the side of the road. In a vision, in my head, he was stood at the side of the road, and my late grandmother came up and stood beside him, and they walked across the road together, and I watched them walk across slowly, looking each way, and got across to the other side and waved, and that was it. And I just said, "You've died. You're dead, aren't you? You've crossed over." And that's him showing me that he's crossed over, and my grand came to take him. And it was probably about a week later. He had actually died. That was when he died, right at that time. And he had showed me. But a week later, I called him from spirit, and I said to him, "Peter, why did you have to die? I know you had bad cancer, but why did you have to die?" And he showed me a picture of himself stood in a room, in the corner of the room, and he had a towel over his shoulder, and he took the towel off his shoulder and he threw it down on the floor into the corner of the room. And straight away I knew he was just saying he'd thrown the towel in. He'd had enough. He couldn't cope anymore. He couldn't go on anymore. He'd gone from 18.5, 19 stone down to about 4 stone. Wow. And that was it. He just couldn't carry on anymore. No. But the fact being, although it sounds like a very sad story, and I do miss my brother terribly.
And I feel for you.
I know that he's okay, and I know I can talk to him, and I know he can hear me, and when he wants to tell me something, he'll come through.
Yeah, it was like when my grandfather died, I had this warm wind just come from, it seemed like it came from above the house. I was in his backyard, actually. And
Right.
I remember I was doing some work in his backyard by the garden, I think, helping my grandmother do something. And I felt this warm wind just hit me, and it just kept pushing on me. Nothing else around. It just was pushing on me. He was in the hospital at the time, and then I just felt all this warmth come through my body, and I just knew that was him. He had passed away. And it was only about an hour later that we got the phone call.
Yeah. And he had, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, another way of our loved ones letting us know that they are around us after they've passed. Have you ever heard of angel feathers?
No.
I've written about that on my blog, actually. And angel feathers are amazing. They really, truly are amazing things. And they are a way of our loved ones, our friends, coming through and just letting us know that they're with us. And they're usually a tiny little fluffy white feather. And although you say that, you know, oh, it could be a bird, it could be a little baby bird. Yeah, of course it could be. But these angel feathers are found in the most bizarre places. Like my sister found hers next to her hospital bed, two of them together, when she lost two of her friends had died.
Wow.
Now, they don't use anything in hospitals with feathers in them at all. But they were both next to her bed, side by side. Or you will find them, like a friend of mine in South Africa has come through, and they could be in the sugar bowl. They could be on the toilet seat. They could be on the dashboard of your car. But they are going to be in a place where you will not miss them. And you know it's going to be, if you have a problem in your life, if it's an anniversary of a loved one, their wedding anniversary who's died, you know, somebody who's died, their birthday, the date of their death, or your birthday, but they will come through and just to say, hey, look, I'm here. You know, everything's cool.
That is so neat.
Oh, they're amazing. They are amazing, and I write about them in all of my books.
I bet you so many people have probably not noticed them.
And you don't? Well, if you did, I never did until I got into spiritual stuff, and I'd probably seen thousands of them. And until I learned about angel feathers, and I've written about them now, and now on my birthday, on April the 1st this year, I was going out to my car, and it was wet and windy, and it was blowing a gale. And for some reason, I thought about my brother who died. When I stepped out my house, I was getting up to my car, and what was stuck to the window of my car, on my driver's door window. Now, this angel feather could have been absolutely anywhere on that car or on the ground, but it was stuck to the driver's door window, where I had to go and open the door and see it.
Well, I think I'm going to have to give all of our listeners who donate money to the Monster Castle of Paranormal Radio, then we're going to send some angel feathers out to everybody for your donations. That's what we're going to do from the Vatican. What do you think, eh?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Do you get anyways, that was being silly there.
The Monster Castle Paranormal Radio Show. We explore the paranormal phenomenon with researchers and skeptics from all walks of life and beyond. Fridays and Saturdays, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, on KTLK Digital Broadcasting Network, thefringe.fm. Visit our website at monstercastleparanormal.com.
Give us a donation today. Thank you very much.
It's Father Guido. He comes out once in a while.
Right.
Yeah. Usually he talks about how he forcefully baptizes aliens.
Oh, right, crikey.
Yeah. He's very silly.
Well, that's another something I could get into as well, you see, is spaceships and aliens, because I went out with a girl who... do we have enough time?
Because, sure, we have lots of time.
Right, okay, because I'll make this the last story because I want to move on and get something done and
All right.
go out and have a few drinks, I think.
Well, thank you, sir. We really appreciate your time, and you are amazing to listen to.
No problem.
I could listen to you even if you were drunk all night long.
Just the final story was about a girl